Hi, this is Denise, and welcome to Mommy's Guide to Happy Hour. Today's episode I'm really excited about because I have a supermom with me. We're going to be talking about her finding love again, her starting her own business, raising 2 sets of twins, and trying to find time for herself, which I know is probably not easy. But before we get started, everyone knows I like my hashtag Mommy's Drink of Choice. Today we're trying something a little new. Obviously it's Prosecco, but it's mixed with blood orange soda, and I threw in a few raspberries. So I want to welcome my mommy, Amy. So thank you, Amy, and cheers.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming on. We need this. So, little history on Amy and I. We have known each other for more than 10 years, on and off, something like that. So I have been wanting Amy to come on the podcast literally since I started. So I finally got her, so I'm really excited about that. I think Amy is incredible, and I can't wait to dive in and talk about things that have been going on in her life, especially with her new husband. So do you mind? Let's start with that. Let's start with the husband. So first, how did you meet him? I have no idea.
Okay, so my one daughter is autistic, and so a special education teacher recommended that I go out with her several times, and I kept saying no and kept saying no and kept saying no. And then one day she called me and said, you know, her boyfriend was in a band and that she wanted me to go to see this band. And I said, I had just made plans that night, Friday night, for a glass of wine with a neighbor. And I said, I promise you the next time you ask me, I will go. And she said, great. They're playing in Baltimore tomorrow. So I drove my minivan to Baltimore.
Okay.
But anyway, another kind of sidebar is that Dan's family goes to the Adirondacks every year. And so they go on a 2-week vacation. So if I would have gone on the Friday, I would not have met him on the Saturday. So kind of turn of events.
Kind of fate.
And the other kind of like funny part about the story, I thought, was that when he came in, he looked at me in the eyes, and it was a very unique connection where I thought that the person who invited me actually was setting me up on a date. But that didn't happen. That was just a complete random thing, and just the thought that I got when I met him. And so
now, was he in the band?
No. Her name was Amber, and her boyfriend at the time was in the band.
He was in the band. Okay.
And he's a high school friend of Dan. So Dan had come to see, he had been driving all day back from New York, so he'd come to see the band. And so there was me. And so we ended up spending the evening talking about everything from me having twins. He said that I didn't say I had 2 sets of twins, but that I had twins. That my tubes were tied.
Oh my gosh. I need a drink on that, Amy.
Yes,
she's like 30 seconds in and really going at it. That's great. I love it.
Anyway, I'm quite the chatterbug, and so a few blue moons later, I had a lot to say.
He's a little younger than you. So the reason you said that you are no longer able to have children was to let him know up front that
it was just me being me.
Right.
Just being completely open. I think like I said, and we were just kind of rolling. There was nothing we didn't touch.
Right.
I told him.
Really? No, I'm kidding.
Well, there was some observation. But it was just funny because he stood beside me for a long time. Right. And then eventually he said that he thought I was a smoke show. So back in the day,
what does that mean? Like a hot mom?
Yes, like back in the day.
Okay.
You're so hot, you're catching fire.
So I was like a cougar back then.
But you're no longer a cougar, you're a smoke
No, because
show.
we're catching up in age, so the cougar thing falls off eventually.
How much younger is he than you? Do you want to say?
So he's 37 and I'm 44.
Oh, okay.
That doesn't sound bad now, but when we first met, it was 6 years ago. So there was a slightly difference in age there. Yeah. And so Dan.
Go, Mommy.
Yeah, right. So it was like an awkward silence until I started talking, and then I just told him everything under the moon. And then the next day he called me. He got my number from Amber. And I actually thought he was somebody calling me from my church group because he was saying, his first sentence was, "Did you make it to church today?" And so then I said, "Well, I went to see a band last night." And, and then he said, "Yeah, I know. I was with you."
Oh, that's so sweet.
So through my daughter's special education teacher.
That's nice. And now, how long did you date before you introduced him to the kids? Because was he your first? Was he the first serious
first and only boyfriend that I ever had
after your divorce? Okay.
Yeah. So I would say maybe a month. It was about a month before, and he came to the swimming pool, and so we invited Amber since Amber knew Riley, and then of course I had 2 sets of twins. So. As you know, and so I invited him to the pool, so it would be kind of more of a public place, and he could come play.
Bathing suits, and you're a brave woman.
So, but I had that privilege of losing all that weight, that divorce.
Oh, the divorce. Yes, I did that. Yes.
So I was actually looking much better at the times. Wasn't as afraid to do the bathing suit.
But that's a big daring thing.
Now I'm happy and healthy.
Right. He saw you in the evening at night under dim lighting, and then the next one is in the daytime on the beach or at the pool in a bathing suit. So that's kudos.
Yeah. So he worked 5 minutes. Turned out he worked 5 minutes away from me too. So we would meet for lunch dates.
Oh, okay.
Near in my office complex actually. And so later on, it was funny. I ran into someone in that little luncheonette place, and the lady said, "Oh, I just loved it when you guys would come in here and fall in love." So it was a sweet thing. Like we just met. We would just meet for lunch, and so that's kind of how things took off.
How long before you knew?
Well, like I said, like the minute that I met him, there was a connection. I mean, I'm not one of those like I love at first sight kind of people, but I was like insistent that I felt like this friend of mine had set up this date, like that he just didn't walk in randomly. It just never felt like that. It just felt like he looked me in the eyes, and he's been there ever since.
Oh, you just got goosebumps.
So that's,
oh my gosh.
Yeah. And so just other things about him, he didn't think he would have kids. So now he has 4, and he's an amazing stepdad. He'd never really taken anyone home, like for like a dinner to his parents. And within a month, we were just talking about this at Thanksgiving with his parents, but within a month he took me home for a formal dinner.
Wow.
So everyone was pretty much like, this is the real deal. And it's just been, he's very easy. There's a country song that talks about something about being easy or simple.
I know what song you're talking about.
Can't think of the song right now.
You make it easy.
You make it easy, and that literally, that's the song. That's our.
Was that your wedding song?
No. He picked that. He's also like a proactive, take charge kind of guy. So he picked Tupelo Honey, which I had never heard before.
I've never heard that one.
So just. Anyway, he leads a lot, and I needed that. I needed someone who kind of like took the reins, and I had a lot to manage anyway.
Right.
And so I felt like that was something I was looking for anyway, and he kind of is the leader.
Oh. Yes. And how long did you date before he proposed?
So he had a timeline.
Did you give him a timeline?
He is a very organized,
he had a timeline.
Yes, he knew exactly. So he had to date for 2 years. We've been together 6 years. He had to date for 2 years before he would even get engaged.
Okay.
He knew exactly where he wanted to be engaged, which was in the Adirondacks.
So you had this conversation. You knew that
he didn't tell. Yes, we knew that 2 years. In 2 years, if I made the 2 year mark, that the engagement would come. And so I had a feeling at the Adirondacks that he was going to do that at that point. And so my aunt and uncle ended up coming at the last minute to join his family. So I had family there, and it was really nice.
So did they know it was going to happen, and you just did it?
No, nobody knew for sure. That it was going to happen. Until I unpacked the bag.
Oh, you found it? Oh, did you really?
Yes.
Did you tell him? Are you telling him right now?
This might be the first.
Sorry, Dan. Spoiler alert. Turn your ears off. Oh my God.
So like any mom, I unpacked all the bags and put all the clothes in the drawers.
Oh my God.
And so in the backpack there was a nice little box.
And you looked.
So I just knew it was going to happen at some point. So
oh my God.
It was still just this special.
Did you peek?
Well, I opened it to see what it was. Which was this. Anyway.
Wow.
So I've been very blessed. I've been every single person that meets Dan, they all say you got a good one.
Good.
Like that's the key.
Well, I think, not to dive too deep, but I knew you from before, so I am very happy that you found someone wonderful to be with you and be with the kids, and because it's a lot.
Yeah.
I can't imagine what it is like to have 2 sets of twins. I'm sure, now it gets easier and then it gets a different kind of harder as our kids get older, because our kids are all around the same age.
Yep.
So, what does your day look like? What's a typical?
I feel like right now is the hardest time, actually. Okay. So they're 9, they're 2.5 years apart, but they're 9 and 12. Okay. And they're boy, girl.
Right.
And the oldest daughter's autistic.
Right.
So I feel like right now they're at their someone always has to have a dig. It's not that they're negative kids. They're very happy and lovable. It's just they're just
hormones are kicking in.
Yeah,
they're 12.
All that. Yeah. Yes. And so everybody knows the right answers for everything. Right. And so there's just this constant
the cute stage
tension.
is gone.
And the two that were born first, they're constantly at it. So it's always like I get up every morning and I say, okay, today, mommy's not going to get upset with anything today. Right. Okay, I know it's not a realistic expectation, but I'm going to shoot for the moon.
But I think as moms, though, when we wake up, we have that idea that today is going to be a good day. I'm not going to say your name 20 times today. Yeah. I'm not. And then within 30 seconds of you being up, it starts.
Right. Within the first hour of every day, we have to have a conversation about, are we going to have electronics today? And so every day I'm like, do we really have to go here? It's the simple stuff. So I always say I'm a broken record, but sadly they don't know what a broken record is.
Right.
So they're just looking at me like I'm
crazy.
A crazy.
All right, here we go again.
Yes, here we go again. Mom's talking about broken records. What a record.
What's a record? I don't know. You should get one and break it and say, this is what a broken record is.
Yes.
But no, I get it. I think, most moms, and I've said this before on the podcast, when I don't see my kids all day and I get in the car to go drive and pick them up because I have to drive them to and from school, I'm so excited to get them. And then I get there and they're like, as soon as we get in the car, or buy me this, or she did this, or he did that. And I'm like, I want to put you back in aftercare. I don't want to pick you up anymore.
Yeah, so my thing is they have no idea that on the way I had this spontaneous idea to take them out for yogurt.
Right.
Or
to do something nice.
Take them to dinner.
Right.
Or, and then 5 minutes into it, that plan is canceled.
Right.
And I'm just like, okay, driving home now. And then I just remind them and then they are mad at me. And so I feel like this constant, I think as a parent, you have to be aware that discipline hurts you too. Constantly, I feel like I'm constantly I wouldn't show that to them. Right. Sometimes I go to my room and I'm like, why did I do that?
Well, because if you have to punish them. But if you punish them and take that one thing away that keeps them occupied, well, then you're screwed as a parent because now they don't have that one thing that gives you the peace, but they need to be disciplined and they need to learn. So it is. We're punishing ourselves.
And the one who's disciplined is then now picking on the next one. So then I literally said to my mom was visiting recently, and I literally said to her, okay, I just took this away from so-and-so, so she saw what went down.
Right.
And I said, give me 1 minute. And in 1 minute, you're going to see Reagan or Mason is going to be upstairs and they're going to be crying. Somebody's going to be hurt. Somebody got tripped. Someone's going to got pulled.
Because they don't have any.
Yes.
They're
going to go down there
with each other because they're not occupied.
Because they want to lash out on their sibling, which we do as adults sometimes, and we lash out on the people we love the most, and that's the same thing.
When my daughter gives me the least amount of trouble, but on the rare occasion that she has upset me, my son is good as gold. That's the best he is all day. He's, Mommy, what can I do for you? And Mommy, it's okay. And I'll do this for you. What do you need? Where normally I'm constantly not yelling at him, but disciplining him or saying, get off your sister. Stop teasing your sister. Don't do that to your sister. Don't do that to the dog. It's a constant. So
at least you get a break when you know something isn't going right with your daughter. Then you get a little break from your son.
Then he's so nice. He's so nice. I don't want her to be worse, so he's nice. But it's just, and sometimes when I go to correct her, I say his name because I'm so used to saying, Nash, don't do that. And I'm like, I mean, Ava, don't do that because that's
yes,
that's how. And you have 4. How do you get their names right? I call them the dogs' names sometimes.
Same here.
Same here. Yeah.
I think one of the biggest things that I've noticed is that they need one-on-one attention. And when you have 4, it's really hard. So like so with Dan, he's super supportive of me going and doing the little things. So, it's not that I do a whole lot for myself, but when I have a little extra time, like I'll take Reagan to see Frozen 2.
Right.
Or I'll even debate, should I take Riley too, or should I just take Reagan?
How
but we don't, with Riley, things kind of have to be more planned, but with the other kids, we can be a little bit more spontaneous.
Right.
So.
And how does that work out? I mean, I know that I only have the 2, and it's a boy and a girl, so they don't ever want to do the same thing.
Right.
So there's rarely a movie that we can agree on that they both want to go see, because it's either too girl centric or too boy centric.
Right.
So every once in a while we land on one.
Yeah, so we do a lot of not going to the movies. We do a lot of Netflix and now Disney Plus.
Yeah, okay.
And things that we can, it still takes like about a half an hour to decide which one we're going to watch. Right. But once we get there, and really we didn't do the movies for a long time because it was difficult for Riley. One of the first movies I took Riley to, she ran back and forth in the theater. But thankfully, it was a sensory-friendly movie.
Oh, okay.
But then I did take her to another movie, and I was like, I'm going to take her because she is just, I'm paying for a ticket for her just like I'm paying for everyone else.
Right.
And if she's really out of control, then, we'll have a plan B.
Right.
But she actually loved the movie. I forget what it was, maybe Lion King or something like that. But yeah, so now I'm not as nervous to take her to a movie.
Right.
But whenever I can, I feel like the older they're getting now, they're getting 7th grade and 4th grade.
God.
So with 7th graders,
grade.
like I feel like you need that one-on-one time, because they're not going to just talk to you about like if they're liking someone at school or what have you. So that's actually something I just said to Dan recently, like after having like a little day date with Reagan, we went and had lunch, and then we went to the movies, and I felt like, at the end, that was a great thing. I mean, it only lasts for a day.
Right.
But I think I need to do that more for Colin. And because the boys, they could just play electronics. They're fine with electronics.
That's how Nash is. Just give him his Xbox or YouTube, and he is fine.
You don't want the whole focus of parenting at this age to be on what are your grades, what does Power School app say, and did you turn in your homework? Like I feel like a constant nag. So if you can get away for like 2 or 3 hours and do something that they like,
I'm fine with that.
Yeah,
I'm fine with that. I don't want you on Saturday to be up there all day playing it, but he interacts with his friends because he's playing with his friends. So he's playing with his friends, but they're playing, so what is it? Fortnite, for a few hours.
So I went to a field trip yesterday, and so I'm on.
I saw the picture.
So Colin's in STEM, so I'm on a coach bus, which was a plus, and I'm listening to all these really loud kids, right? Especially the girls just hackling in the back, right? But I also overhear the conversations that are going on, and every single kid is playing. If I didn't know this, I would just not want my son to play electronics all day, but every single kid is talking about, they're playing them. They have their Nintendo Switches with them. They're all communicating. Right. So it's not like there's no communication.
Right. They're not in their room anymore, just playing privately by themselves. Yes. So
after we finally let them start communicating, like we were nervous about the whole communication.
I was nervous about that too.
So anyway, I feel like we kind of have to grow up with our kids. So at 7th grade, this is what they're doing. Right. We kind of have to like accept that they're not out riding their bikes all over till dark anymore. They're doing what they're doing. So I mean, a punishment to my kid, Colin specifically, is sending him outside to ride his bike. So I bought him a $150 bike. I mean, I was so proud of this bike, man. Right. And my husband, Dan, said he's never going to ride that bike. Right. And we have to force him. We're like, all right, take your brother to such and such place and ride your bike there. And then, and it's right back in the garage. Right. So, I mean, fortunately, Mason likes to ride a bike, so I don't feel like the 150 just went out the window because Mason will grow into it.
But no, I get it. So we have 2 boys down the street that are not allowed to do electronics. So Nash will go out and go play with them, and they will play outside and get into stuff. But when they're not around, he literally is upstairs playing with his friends. Yeah. So, but you're right. He's interacting with the boys in his class, and everyone lives since we don't go to school in our district, since they all go to private school, all the kids are all over the place. So we don't know anybody except for the kids on this street. I'm sure there's multiple kids in this neighborhood that go to the public school. We just don't know any of them.
Right.
Well, but mine is still 10.
Yeah.
You know, eventually and I, you know, it's not often, but yesterday when I went to pick him up from basketball practice, he ran over and he gave me a hug and kissed me on the cheek in front of everyone and said, "Hi, Mommy." Aww. And then went and got a drink, and I was teared up because I'm like, oh, you know, this is only going to happen for a short amount. And when we got in the car, I told him, I said, "Baby, you know, you made Mommy's day by giving me a kiss and telling me hi." Yeah. And he goes, "Well, I love you, Mommy." And that's because, you know, I left Ava at home. She wasn't in the car. Right. It was just him and I. So it was that quick little one-on-one time. But yeah, I totally get that.
Yeah, by like 5th grade, my son Colin used to kiss me like 12 times before he would leave the house. It was almost like an OCD characteristic.
That's so sweet. Oh my gosh.
And then yesterday I was like, "Hey, Colin, let's take a selfie."
Oh.
And like he was like,
"No."
I was like, "Just one, so I can prove I was here in the background."
Right. Yeah, my daughter doesn't want to take any pictures with me. She's always like, makes a face, and I'm like, "Come on, let's get a picture together."
Yeah.
She's like, it's like forced. And when I try, you take really great family pictures, or I don't know how long it takes you to get them all piled up like that. But when I try to get my 2 kids to take a picture, they just stand side by side and they just stand like this. And like Ava will put her arm around Nash, but it literally is like side by side. I'm like, "Come on, let's interact. Let's look like we're having fun." And
it definitely takes effort. So the pictures that you see, like Facebook,
right?
Like I try to be really real on Facebook.
Right.
Like I try to post like things that that are relevant in real life. But I will say that most of the pictures of my kids that have Riley in them, they're completely staged because you know, like somebody's singing a Paw Patrol song in the background or something just to get her like you know, to like smile
and stand there and but the pictures I think are great. Like I love looking at the pictures and the pictures of the dog but I think, you know, and that's one thing that moms and everybody else should know. What you see is not what you get. It is, you know, it might take us 10 times of trying to get a good picture to finally get a good picture, or we have good intentions and take them somewhere and think it's going to turn out really well, and it just you know, vacation. Oh my God! Like
I actually told my kids this Halloween that I am going to dress up as an ATM machine for the next Halloween
because all they want is money.
They need. I feel like. So I've become more of a minimalist I've really made that intentional in the last couple of years because I just feel like we had so many things, and even clothes and things like that. Like even my aunt was joking recently, like their wardrobes are out of control. Right. But now I said, you haven't seen their wardrobes lately because I've literally been not buying things like I used to buy things. Like I'm just, you know, I feel like they need to learn too that, you know, overconsumption is not...
I don't know about yours, but when mine get in the car, they start, "Hey, Mommy, can I have this? Can we go here? Can we buy this?" And I'm like, can we just say hello? Can we be happy to see me? Why do we always start with, can we go buy me something? And it's a constant. And I don't want to
get a Chick-fil-A.
Oh my God,
it's a $50 adventure.
It is. It is not cheap.
And they all need a large milkshake with their...
Well, I won't let mine have a large milkshake.
I sound really mean because I'm like, "No, you can't have a jug. You know, you can't have a milkshake." And then I'm like, they live one time. Just give them a milkshake. I don't know. I teeter between like, you know, it's dairy. Like, you know, like just give them a milkshake.
Well, do we still have the same pediatrician? Do you still have Dr. Ginsburg?
Yes. So I have to go back there. Right now. I keep getting the reminders. I'm like, another appointment.
I know. So we just went. Well, luckily, so my kids have the same birthday, so they get the same. We have the same annual appointment. So
your children have the same birthday.
They do.
Okay, but just years apart.
2 years apart, but the same day, same birthday. 2 years apart.
Man, that is awesome. I always liked twins having the same birthday because you can rent one place for the same price.
Right. Well, Ava's like, we're twins, but we're not. She's like, we're
I
twinsies,
love
but
that.
we're not.
I love knowing
yes,
that about you.
yes,
I didn't know that.
Yes. So yeah, they have the same birthday party. We have one birthday party. They each get a cake.
Awesome.
But yeah, so their annual appointment is at the same time.
Yeah.
And we do it together. And when she starts asking those questions, what do you eat? And they start answering it, and you're like, I start thinking lower and lower and lower. Oh, I eat this and this. Well, how many vegetables do you eat a day? Well, I don't like vegetables. Well, how much fruit do you eat? Well, I don't like fruit. And she's like, and I'm like, Ava eats yogurt. And Ava, it's like
oh my gosh.
She's getting her dairy, and because she doesn't want milk, but she wants yogurt. So I'm like, it's still a dairy.
So it's funny. So I know we've kind of gone down the same path where you found a new love too.
Yes.
So I don't know how much you've talked about that in the past, but what I was going to say about my situation is that one of the things that I really loved is I was like set on a menu, okay, and it really consisted of quesadillas, Taco Bell, not Taco Bell, but
yes,
Taco Bell type meals, taco meals,
Anything
you could make in a George Foreman was like my gig, right? But then Dan came in and he likes to cook.
Yeah, that's what happens
I used to, for like the first, I don't know, many months, years, I used to say, oh, Riley doesn't like that. So-and-so doesn't like this. So-and-so doesn't like this. And then he just kept putting it out there. And then they started eating it. And so now there's really nothing that my kids won't try. Teriyaki did not go over well recently. But, it's 1 out of 4 likes it, then we're not going to make that meal again.
Right. Well,
but anyway.
Yeah, that was when Brad and I first started dating, he couldn't understand why I was making each kid something completely different. And then we had something different. And I had just gotten used to the fact that I really didn't care if I ate dinner.
Yeah.
Matt was gone. I just had to cook for the kids. And I didn't really care if they wanted 2 different things. As long as they were eating things they liked and it was easy, I didn't really care that this one was eating this one and this one was eating that. And then I didn't really eat that much. So when Brad and I first started dating and he would come over and I would make dinner, he would be like, what are you doing? I'm like, oh, I've become a short order cook. This is what now I'm making a big meal for you. And Ava ate that and Nash ate that. And he goes, well, why don't you just make the whole thing and make them eat it? I'm like, because they're not going to eat it. So
did you change that at all? Or did you kind of just learn to?
I've changed it a little bit, but they still are picky eaters. And a lot of times I still feed them first before he comes over.
And it's just you can't fix all that.
Well, and they're growing it. Like Nash is growing into more meats and more like when we're cooking things on the grill, he wants to try it and he eats more with us. And Ava still she really won't
what
eat.
Does she like?
So she likes non-meat products. Okay. So she likes mac and cheese, she likes eggs, she likes any pancakes and just those type of things, pasta, and oh my God, the child loves seafood. So crabs, crab cake, mussels.
Really?
Yes.
That's awesome.
So she likes all. So
it's not like she's not trying. No.
So she's
not picky in that regard.
She's not. She likes all the things on the seafood side of the house and the dairy side of the house. Where Nash doesn't really care about dairy. We'll eat a little seafood, but he wants a hamburger. He wants a steak. He wants brisket. So he's trying new things.
Yeah.
But
so that when you said picky at first, I thought picky as in like chicken nuggets and pizza.
No, like she eats shrimp and he won't eat shrimp.
They're trying but
it
sounds like Dr. Ginsburg is going to get a good report from your kids.
She didn't. I mean, we just went. And they're not.
I don't get brisket.
They're not. Well, we get it from Red Hot and Blue. But the hard thing is, so like when I make tacos, Ava likes shrimp. Nash likes beef. Brad likes anything except, you know what I mean? It's like, and it's like I'm making all these different tacos. Everyone's eating tacos, but I've got shrimp on there. I've got ground beef. I've got chicken and steak. So yeah, that's what I mean by they're still not all.
So you just do, that's part of what you do.
It's just what I do.
That's one of your challenges.
It's just one of my challenges. And Brad's not here every night for dinner because he's usually gone for work. So then I don't have to worry about it. So I make him maybe one meal a week. And then the kids usually aren't here for that. So.
Yeah. the only thing that my kids really, Riley struggles with is she doesn't like anything chocolate.
Really?
So that's everything else I can give it a try. And she'll try it. No, but if it has chocolate in it, like chocolate chip cookies,
right?
she would
wouldn't eat them.
Yeah, or if you burn the grilled cheese and it has the dark look, she won't eat that.
My kids won't do that if the eggs look a little dark. And I keep telling them it's the butter.
Yeah.
They're not burnt, it's the butter. But oh my gosh. Oh, these kids. Well, so you have all that going on, and you've started a new business for yourself.
Yes.
So that, I think, is amazing.
So that we kind of led into the fact that this is the hardest time, I think, for kids right now. Like, all of a sudden, I had nannies that were amazing. They're still in our life. They're like part of our family. For all these years. And then some really big milestones started happening, specifically for Riley. We're working on potty training. She's halfway there, so we'll spare the details. We're halfway there.
Right, okay.
And so we're just making some really great strides, but honestly, it was one of her nannies who was a special education teacher who was really pushing her that kind of, I think, kick-started it for me.
Right.
But she used to be difficult with brushing teeth. She was difficult with not using a pull-up, things like that.
And I
just felt like I needed to be a mom.
Right. And is she mainstream school?
That's really hard when you have an 8-year commitment at a company.
That's true.
And you all of a sudden feel like you need to be a mom.
Right.
And so I kind of like did this like almost slammed the brakes kind of deal. I gave a 4 weeks notice at my company.
Okay.
I helped facilitate my replacement, like just a little. I mean, somebody had recommended this person and I sent some glowing reviews. I tried to do what I could, and then I took a huge leap of faith, and it literally is faith. And so now I have my own business. So
that's great,
my own business means that I'm a mom and my daughter says that I'm a stay-at-home mom, even though I'm a work-from-home mom.
Right.
But so I now do all the things that I used to pay someone to do. I get my kids up. I help them with whatever breakfast needs they need to have. And then I get Riley fully dressed. I mean, she's 13, going on 13, 12, going on 13. And in June, so I'm speeding her up too quickly, but I'm thinking of like her 13-year-old age, or teenage age, and she needs to be more self-sufficient. So like I'm helping her to do that instead of a lot of like, you probably know with childcare and au pairs and stuff, they do a lot for your kids.
They do.
I remember the first week I was home with them, they like sat at the table and just waited to be served. And I was like, get up and make your own bowl of cereal.
Right.
Put
it in the sink when you're done.
So there was a transitional period, and I said, you're either going to love me being at home or you're not going to love me being at home.
Right.
But
because that was their job to take care of them. So
so they just assumed someone was going to take care of them. So now we're rolling along. So I drop my kids off every day by 9:10, and then from 9:10 until basically 4 o'clock, I have time to work and get things accomplished. Sometimes I'll take like a half an hour out of my day and do laundry, whatever it is to keep my house rolling. Right. But I've become not necessarily a multitasker. I kind of always was good with that kind of thing. But like I make a plan on how I'm going to like deal with my house, deal with my life, and all those forms that come in that you need to sign and checks that you have to write and all that. I'm way on top of that. Right. Good. I was never way on top of any of that. Like I was always the last person to send back any form. Right. No fundraising. Right. If a fundraiser came in, it went right into the trash. Right. But now I'm like, you know what? Let's look at this. This might be something we can do. Right. So I just ran a 5K with my daughter. Oh, I won't say that I made the whole 5K, but I was there. My daughter came home with this Girls on the Run. It's a program that helps with building confidence for young girls and things like that. Right. And of course, we were excited about it. So we said yes, and then and I enjoyed doing all that with her. But then it turns out she trained every week. She had to stay after school twice a week. Right. And so it turned out she needed a buddy, but the buddy had to be 13 or older. And since Colin, her brother, is 12, he couldn't technically be her buddy. So guess who got to be her buddy? You. So I haven't run a 5K in years, and so
I have never run a 5K.
So I decided that I was going to run a 5K through the Maryland Zoo, by the way, which is very hilly. That's sweet. But the beautiful part was she was actually like happy to walk or jog or run.
Just be with you, I'm sure.
I would say that I made half of the 5K. So whatever
is that is, 3 miles?
It's 3.5 miles, right? So what is that? Like 1 point? I'm not a mathematician, but anyway, so that was fun. So my kids, kids stretch you. They like. So So I told her, I was like, maybe this is going to be the thing that's going to get me back to doing what I really want to start doing, which was getting myself back into some sort of workout routine or gym membership or something like that. Even my home gym is kind of what I'm thinking. We have a community gym that's free, and but just doing a little bit more for myself.
Right. Well, and I was going to ask you about that. So, newly married, you've been married, you just celebrated your 1 year anniversary in October.
Yeah.
October. You have 4 children that are active, sports, cheerleading, all kinds of stuff.
Yes.
Started a new business. Where's the Amy time?
So, right. So,
come on, Supermom. Where's the Amy time?
Where is my time?
So, where's your time?
So, I put a lot of time into my kids, for sure.
Okay.
So, that's part of the Amy time. My husband and I, Dan, we used to do a lot of dates when we didn't have cheer competitions, but now we have a cheer competition like every weekend. So I spend time taking Reagan to those competitions, which 2 of them are at the beach, so that's fun. So we make it like a long weekend.
Is that from what to what? Or does that never stop?
It runs different seasons.
Okay.
So she just the season she likes the most is the winter competition season, and they give you a schedule, and one event is for 2 days in Ocean City, one event is in Virginia Beach for 2 days. So like we actually make a kind of a little mini vacation out of it too. So it can be fun. It's a family thing.
But it's not an ongoing year round every weekend.
It is not an ongoing every weekend thing, but once you get a little break and then you decide if you're going to sign up for the next season. So she's so far since she started out as a tiny paw, which I think that might have been like 4 or 5 years old. She started out as a little kitty, I believe it was. Then she was a tiny paw, and now she's been on several other teams, and she's getting her back handspring now, and she's working really hard and all that. So the long and short of it is I spend time with her doing that, which I do enjoy. But after I started my own business from home, I found myself working from home a lot. I found myself like literally living in yoga pants and doing work, which I do enjoy doing that. I like to kind of hang out and light the candles and do my work. But I was feeling a little claustrophobic. So my mom mentioned she was going to go zip lining.
Oh.
So I asked her if I could go. It turned out to be something she wanted to do on her bucket list.
Okay.
So I asked if I could join, and she said yes. And so it was the in West Virginia, why am I forgetting the name of the bridge? New River Gorge Bridge.
Okay.
And so they have zip lining, and I just remember so I showed up with my mom and her friend, and we had to climb up on these like rickety.
Oh.
Okay, so I had zip lined years ago in Jamaica. I was all confident that I knew what I was doing. But anyway, slightly out of shape, climbing up on these rickety things.
Right.
And I was really scared but ready to do it for the first time. So anyway, it was really nice to just let go for a weekend. And so I was able to do that.
And it was just you and your mom?
It was my mom and one of her friends.
That's nice. Yeah.
So it was just fun to do something like out of the ordinary. The other thing that I was able to, I made a commitment. My aunt is very close to me, and my cousins, they live in Florida, and they've been making a lot of time for me. Like they've been up for the wedding, and I feel like they've been here more than I've been there. And so 3 years had passed. And so my cousin Lindsay had 2 children, and one of them has special needs, and his name's Jaden. Malia and Jaden are her children. And I had on my bucket list was by the end of this year to use my Southwest credit to make it to Florida. Okay. So I ended up going from Thursday to Monday, which is a real stretch for me, let me tell you. Especially with Riley in potty training mode. It's difficult for me to go away that many days. I went by myself.
Oh my gosh, that's great.
I had the best time. So I spent plenty of time with my cousins sitting up till 3 a.m., like drinking wine, talking, catching up, like we do.
Dan had all the kids.
Dan had the kids Thursday and Friday, and then their dad picked them up Friday through Sunday, and then he got them back Sunday and Monday, and then I came home. Right. And as amazing as it all turned out, and it was a great weekend, I did get a text message while I was there. This would be my last trip. Because until Riley's where she needs to be, then it's just more challenging. So, but yeah, like very supportive. Like I was able to go away. My whole family was happy that I went, and then I got to reconnect. So I feel like the end of this year ended with, not only me, like I said, coming to a screeching halt with a company who was so good to me for 8 years. And then me just taking this huge leap of faith, which meant spending really the summer with my kids and working. I had one client when I made this leap, and it was a great client, had a lot of faith in me, and I was very thankful for that. And I worked part-time essentially. And then when September came, I said, as soon as the kids get ready back to school, I'm putting my all into this. And so I have a new company called Severe Security. Just to throw that in.
I know.
But I do security consulting for government contracting companies that they don't necessarily need full-time support. But they do need a facility security officer. So I've kind of found my way, a little niche there, and I'm loving that. And as of Veterans Day, I signed my 7th client. So it's been great. Great. Although my daughter still thinks that I'm a stay-at-home mom, I'm actually a working mom.
Right.
And so I'm trying to show my kids that there's a different way of doing the mom.
Right.
And I haven't missed anything. I don't miss Halloween parades. I don't miss field trips. I'm not behind on all their forms anymore. Right. Like, I feel like I'm more in charge of my life.
You can breathe. You can breathe a little bit. Yes.
I mean, it's still stressful, and I still, definitely dabble with anxiety, but I would say that I've been able to really, kind of hone that in and just like focus more on my family.
Well, and that's great. And, and I've said this before. Yes, I work from home, and I have clients to answer to, and I have this to do and that to do. But it is so different from the moms that have to get up, get themselves ready, get your kids ready, and then go away for 9 hours a day somewhere else, and then come home and get the laundry done and the shopping done. And I couldn't do it.
I had to pay somebody to do everything. I had people, I paid to, have my house cleaned every week. Now I have somebody that comes twice a month because I can manage it. I had like 40 loads of laundry. I'm not joking at times. Right. And I would have like my aunt would come into town or my mom, and they would literally spend a day in what I call the dungeon, which is our basement. Right. It's not that bad, but literally 20 loads of laundry, 40 loads of laundry would come out of there, and then that takes like 2 days to put it all away. Right. And so all of those things though kind of like came together and just, especially when I'm doing it all now, I'm realizing the kids don't need this much. If they can have laundry for 3 weeks, they don't need 3 weeks worth of laundry. Right. We can give things away. We can share our things, So seriously.
The concept you guys are talking about, I remember from sociology class, it was referred as the second shift. It's like mom goes to work, but then mom's got to clean and do dinner and stuff.
Mom still has to do everything.
Yeah. So now when they come in, it's not like this huge stress of like, most people who have 2 parents that work, there's someone in that day that sends an email, a phone call, or a text that says, what's for dinner? Right. We don't ever even have that conversation anymore because I'm home. I've gotten the kids. Dan's schedule is amazing. He goes in at 6 and he's home by 4. So he comes in and it's like, okay, what's the plan for the night? Right. Are you going to take Reagan to cheer? And Reagan's really the only one in cheer in sports right now, but it can be more crazy because Mason is a very wants to try everything kid. He wants to try every single sport.
To see what he wants.
So which means that we go buy every equipment.
Stuff, yes. Oh, I've been there.
But anyway, so it's been really great. Like I said, I mentioned to you when I got here, you asked me to do this a long time ago.
I know. I'm so thrilled.
And I wasn't prepared at the time. I had too much on my plate, and that was my tagline at the time. I had too much going on. I was overwhelmed. Now I can actually leave my house at 2:00 or 1:30 in the afternoon and go do a podcast.
This is great. So, well, I have one last actual question for you.
Okay.
What makes you happy? I ask it at the end of all my podcasts.
Okay. Quiet, actually.
That's fun.
One of the things that's making me happy right now, like today specifically, is I turn on like meditation music and I light candles and I do my work in the quiet. Right. Sometimes a nice car ride with no music on or nobody talking.
Oh, those are the best.
I love people and I love interacting. But I also, I like to have like time by myself. So with my husband's traveling for work, joy, like doesn't get 50 text messages from me. Like if he gets one, he's lucky, right? Because I'm just in my element. So, and I would say when the laundry's all done.
Those those are all what makes us all of us moms happy. I think I
Yeah.
have a big pile up there right now that I need to do. So,
and time with girlfriends. I would say that my biggest detriment over the last probably 5 or 6 years is that I have not made a conscious effort to spend time with friends.
Right.
And that kind of came to light
it's
when
been
I was
4 years since you and I went out
when
together.
I was planning my wedding,
Mm-hmm.
I realized how neglectful I've been, and so I have made a real conscious effort to like try to be a better friend, and because that makes me happy, like being with friends and drinking and just being goofy. Like I'm very goofy and talk off the cuff. So if I can do that with a friend and they like it, great.
Great. Well, good. Well, Amy, I want to raise my glass.
Thank you.
I want to thank you for coming. I want to thank you for getting out of your comfort zone.
Yes, I did.
She did it. She did it. She did it. She might come back. I don't know.
I overcame anxiety, and I have a referral for the next podcast.
So please make sure that you are following us on Facebook and Instagram, and please subscribe to our YouTube channel so you don't miss these great podcasts like the one with Amy. So cheers,
Thank
Amy.
you.
And thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.